talking about. Right. There's only one thing. And all of us are operating on the circuitry that we call, listen carefully, the hydrogen atom. Once the hydrogen atom is activated within us, there is only the hydrogen atom. Everything else dovetails from that.
And they got to have some type of ancient, now don't get me wrong, Christianity as a religion is fake. Christianity as a mystical system comes out of Coptic Egypt. And it is just as metaphysics as ancient hieroglyphic Kemet.
But what I've been saying for the last 20 years since I've been here is there's another thought process that transcends that type of thinking. And that's what I strive for. And that's what I'm hoping anyone who's a true student of the occult is striving for as well. Not to be locked down by when the moon turns blue or when it's the closest to the earth or when it's that. To not ignore it, but not put your emotional excitement, ooh, it's a new moon and we're on live. Like, what the fuck is that?
8 Butterfly, the code, the brand, the lifestyle.
Like a live electric wire twisted into innumerable loops and folds, each outwardly entirely dissimilar to the other yet charged with the same current, all religions, creeds and sects of mankind, all secret methods of mind training, magic or sorcery and all disciplines for the attainment of mystical ecstasy or religious beatitude, whichever led to some tangible result, one and all had their roots in Kundalini. There is no doubt that what I am asserting was known in almost all the vanished civilizations of the past. The basis of all the mysteries, whether Babylonian, Egyptian, or Greek, can be definitely traced to Kundalini.
That, I'll say that shit in class, get that. Motherfuckers is already giving that shit out on PDF. You lucky ass niggas, you ain't got no reason to walk around here and the best you got in your fucking arsenal is the word hotel.
Yeah. Electromagnetic. I am that I am that I am that I am that I am. What we working with? Yo, darkness around me, channeling that darkness inside. Focus, that's the things that I will see. All real niggas divine is the mind, yeah. All real niggas divine is the mind, and we manifesting darkness around me, channeling that darkness inside.
Because I really had like 2 other questions that I wanted to ask, but then someone was like, no, because I already had that question, and I was like, Lil, ask about this, because I know Doc is super knowledgeable, and even you, Brother Rich, just because, you definitely overcame stuff as well, so you would have an opinion about it, so that it just dropped in, and I was like, I'm going to ask the anxiety question.
What's that? That's quantum entanglement, Doc? Is that what that is?
Well, what happens here is quantum entanglement. Okay. In other words, there is no distance, there's no space, and there's no time. All things are in the one. Same thing that Dr. Gabriel Oyibo was talking about. Right. There's only one thing. And all of us are operating on the circuitry that we call, listen carefully, the hydrogen atom. Once the hydrogen atom is activated within us, there is only the hydrogen atom. Everything else dovetails from that. So when you come back through the quantum entanglement, you come back to the oneness. And that's the oneness. Remember, the one, when it folded over on itself, created the hydrogen atom. The hydrogen atom is the one. And when you talk about Neo, it's the hydrogen atom.
Wow.
Thanks for the question, David.
Hey, no problem. Appreciate your input and knowledge, man. Y'all take care now.
Peace,
take
brother.
care.
All right.
Mad Afisai, welcome back to the channel. Take some time out if you haven't already to subscribe so that you always have this content in your timeline whenever we upload new videos, and we do so consistently. I'll wait. Thanks for the subscribe. Let's get right into the information. Electromagnetic beings. Oneness. The one. The hydrogen is divinity folded over on itself, manifested into the physicality. Right? So we are electromagnetic beings right now. Look, you heard my professor say it, right? University of Commission Sciences, right? The journey is mastery. Back when I was in there and I heard that for the first time, it baffled me. It might baffle you, but no, in time, you'll be able to completely get the perspectives that Dr. Phil was just speaking on. All is one. Know yourself and know the universe. You are, at your core, an electromagnetic being. That's what you are. That's what I am. That I am right now. An aspect. There's no separateness. The illusion of separation is what we get caught up in. The illusion of physicality is what makes us confirm in this small thing that we call a brain that deals with these senses of illusion, that we're somehow separate from everything else. But we're not. We're not separate. We're divinity. We're that same divine entity in different aspects of itself right now. So the ancestors is you, the spirits is you, nature is you, the gods are you. Everything at its core is an aspect of you. So ask yourself, what is a prayer? Why are you praying? That should be a reason for you to consider that and say, you know what? I'm never praying again. Why would I? Why would you? Are you afraid? Is there sin in your mind? Are you contemplating the aspect of sin? Because we have a video before this that decodes sin and shows you the illusion of sin. You don't have the scholarship? There's free books in one of these videos as well. How to Never Pray Again, where you can now scan the barcode, download the books, read the books, get the knowledge, you got the courage. Why pray again? Now, a lot of persons get caught up in this illusion of separation. You don't have to be caught up anymore. Step in power, step in divinity. Know thyself and know divinity. Electromagnetic beings, the oneness. That's us. That's you. That's me. You see, number is the significance of all things. But the absence of number decodes all things. When you take away the number, you see divinity. You see that everything is connected. And number is the significance of everything in this so-called physical expression of divinity. It's just an illusion of physicality because it's all spirit. It's all non-physical. If you really research it, you'll see that there's no such thing as a physical. This is all spirit, but it's just slowed down to a particular pace to where it appears to our senses that this is physicality and something is less physical or less of what this is. All is mind and the universe is feminine. So what is a prayer to divinity? Low self-esteem, if you ask me.
But at the end of the day, are you dependent on the moon to do whatever it is you need to do? Or limited by being a Sagittarius, a Taurus, or a goddamn Aquarius? We should understand, people ask, do you believe in it? It's not a belief system. Those things are true. What I'm talking about is a level. It's a level. You know what I'm saying? It's a level that we need to understand. And we're still, in fact, Zodiac is time. That's why there's 12 of them. I mean, it's quite simple. When you understand the story of Christ, or Jesus or the Christos energy, which you need to understand. If your conscious is supposed to be true consciousness, you become Christ. That means you become the 13. The 13 is the number that gets you out of this lockdown. It gets you out of the 12. Jesus has 12 disciples. The word disciple means discipline. Those are the 12 zodiacs. To discipline the zodiac is to become the 13. That's to discipline the animalistic nature of yourself. That's why each Taurus has good attributes and bad attributes. And so do I believe that? Absolutely. That'd be stupid not to believe. But for me to invest my consciousness in that is another way of saying I'm investing my consciousness into humanity. And that's a choice. Is it wrong or right? I'm not talking about wrong or right. Is it good or bad? I'm not talking about good or bad. It is what it is. But what I've been saying for the last 20 years since I've been here is there's another thought process that transcends that type of thinking. And that's what I strive for. And that's what I'm hoping anyone who's a true student of the occult is striving for as well. Not to be locked down by when the moon turns blue or when it's the closest to the earth or when it's that. To not ignore it, but not put your emotional excitement. Oh, it's a new moon and we're on live. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? What's the difference between today and fucking when it was an old fucking moon? Nothing. You're either gonna get it or you're not gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? You need to work on getting a truer understanding of what all of this shit means instead of acting like, and let me say it again, instead of acting like you're participating in something that you're sitting around witnessing. The moon is blue, so I wore my blue shorts today as I punched in that fucking Arby's. We got the meats. The moon is blue, but we got the meats. Like, listen, you need to stop acting like you're doing something spiritual and actually do what it entails to become spiritual. And what I found, like I said, you may not come to this determination, but be honest with yourself. Have you really probed that within yourself to see if you come to that? Somebody said they work at Arby's, and you'll be working there after the moon turns fucking white again. And that's the point. And I'm not saying there's not necessarily nothing wrong with working at Arby's. We all here doing what we got to do. If you really work there, we all doing what we got to do. But we need to stop faking that we're doing something that we're not. That's really nothing more than the same Christianity that's sitting there getting themselves to believe that some guy is coming back to rescue them who can walk on water. Because they don't have any access or any power, they empower themselves emotionally. You understand? They empower themselves emotionally. Emotionally, what drives your emotion comes from within, not because the moon turns blue. If I'm excited about a blue moon, I'm excited about what I'm going to make happen on a blue moon. But again, I urge you to get past the blue moon and make it exciting for what happens on a white moon as well. Now, if you found some information that it makes it easier somehow on a moon that's blue to do something, then by all means, knock yourself out and be as excited as you want to. But
at the core, we're all these things right now. Everything in nature, the moon, divinity. Some people it says spirit moved them. Some people it say, whatever it is that you see, whatever it is that you focus on, whatever it is that you call on, whatever it is that you attribute power beyond yours to, that's you. Accept that. Bring it into your fold. Use it. Wield it. Use the same type of adoration to it, the same type of devotion to it. But realize the devotion, adoration, And everything that you're given is to you, yourself. It's an aspect of you, nothing separate. And with that, you will start to look at yourself in a more holistic, divine perspective. Now, there's levels to this. Everyone is not going to get it. This is not a conversation for persons who still want to argue whether or not they should pray. This is not a conversation or a presentation for persons who are still debating whether or not they should be praying, or whether or not they should say their prayers before meals, after meals, morning, in the night, whenever. This is a presentation for those who are looking for steps beyond that. This is not a presentation to disrespect anyone either, because I came from those parts as well. I used to say my prayers too. I was a worshiper as well at one point, before my mind and my horizons, my perspectives were expanded and I understood myself from a holistic, divine focus point. Everyone has their journey, and everyone is divinity right now. So you got to come to your own understanding within your own self. All the scholarship is there, all the information is there. It's up to you now to have that courage, that discipline, that zeal for your own divinity within you, to say, hey, I will never pray again.
Christianity is as fake as an $8 bill. And they got to have some type of ancient, now don't get me wrong, Christianity as a religion is fake. Christianity as a mystical system comes out of Coptic Egypt. And it is just as metaphysics as ancient hieroglyphic HEMMITT. Let's make the distinction. Moralistic, organized Christianity is fake. Ancient Christianity and ancient Christian mysticism predates Christianity, and one has nothing to do with the other, but one is the real one and the other one is a plagiarized version. Let's get that right. So we're talking about the fake plagiarized version where you historicalize the ancient Christ or the soul in all of us to put it, be relegated to one man, stringy-haired man walking around Jerusalem who never existed. Now let's understand, you see, the difference between one that's based on the Egyptian god Horus and one that's based off this fictitious cult figure to line up by. So he's the biggest pimp, like Jim Jones and the rest of them, JC. But he's the greater pimp because he never existed. He was a mystical character or a mythical character, and even Paul in his writings never mentioned on the historical Christ. All his writings is about a mystical Christ. There's a whole chapter on that in the book, Who is This King of Glory? Alvin Boyd Kuhn, which is one of the highly recommended books with Dr. John Henry Clark. And this is the one that the government had to ban because this particular book will eat any Christian's ass out on that subject of Christianity. With this book, there is no hiding. These people know that
ancient mythology. Ancient mythology. That's all it was. It was a myth, allegory of divinity presented, and it was misrepresented in this so-called modern day as ancient history. But it's not ancient history. It's ancient history of a mythology being represented as something that is other than a mythology. That's what's written down in history. Millions and millions of people looking at something in a way that is weird, from my perspective, now that I understand certain things from a more holistic, a more broader lens, I start to see through this illusion of separation that's causing a lot of persons to see some type of deity outside of themselves or look for divinity outside of themselves. Look at the screen. This is the temple of Dendera, one of the most ancient temples in the so-called land of Egypt, right? And look at how it represents the more modern representation of the so-called seven candlestick. And notice how the seven candlestick is connected to the seven chakras, and it helps to decode the electromagnetic spectrum, the electromagnetic being that you are. It means that the ancients already understood this science. They knew we were electromagnetic beings, and they wanted this information to be carried throughout generations and generations and generations. So they put it into the structure of buildings. The Temple of Man, Dendera, the Temple of Zodiacus. These things were left on record so that when we see these symbols, it would impact our subconscious mind and things would start to awake within us. We start to remember parts of our divinity and start to now put the whole picture together again and understand ourselves from a holistic divine place. We are electromagnetic beings right now. The ancients knew it. Some of us were, for lack of a better word, misled into the direction of thinking that we are physical entities only, started to look at ourselves as physicality only, and forgot that everything is feminine, everything is spirit. There's no such thing as divinity outside of you. All is one. All is one. Everything is hydrogen in this so-called physicality, and if you go beyond it, everything is spirit. All is mind, and the universe is feminine. You're the originator of the yin and the yang. You are all seven bands of light. Right now, you will, what is a prayer? That's low self-esteem. What is a prayer to an aspect of everything? What are you praying to? Who are you praying to? That's low self-esteem. How to pray no more. How to never pray again. How to pray no more. How to never worship again. Because the focus is key, and staying focused is key. How to never pray again. I am you. You are me, and we were never here.
Your heart being light as a feather is to realize this is empty. My heart is light as a feather because what would make my heart heavy? In this particular context, when you see this mythology before the judgment of this lifetime, the only thing that can make my heart heavy if I believe this lifetime really existed in any context. So it ain't even about the level of did you steal horses or did you covet thy wife and thy neighbor's goods? It's not even about that. It's about, do you believe this shit really happened? Or do you believe your soul was entrapped into a mind matrix? And understanding that, knowing that, not just believing it in terms of blind belief, believing in what you know to be absolute within.
More sass, nigga. Now don't lie, I ain't gonna lie. I took 2 big ass teaspoons of sea moss today. Ain't nobody here shitting on that sea moss, boy. That shit make you feel like a nigga. And then I made a whole goddamn beat. You heard? I was like this.
Oh, I made all that shit this morning, nigga, before you got here.